do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Just let that one sink in for a second. You know, if you've ever set some huge New Year's resolution only to fail by like February, and then you just beat yourself up over it, blaming your lack of willpower, well, this one sentence might completely change how you see things. It's suggesting the problem isn't you. It was never about your motivation or your grit. The problem was the system you were using. Hey, welcome to The Distilled Idea. Our whole mission here is to turn complex books into clear, compelling video essays. So yeah, let's get right into it. So today, we are diving deep into a book that has, and I'm not exaggerating here, genuinely changed how millions of people think about their daily lives. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear. And it tackles this frustration that, we've all felt it, right? It's that feeling of why is it so hard to start a good habit? You know, like going to the gym or reading more. And why is it even harder to stop a bad one, like mindlessly scrolling on your phone or grabbing that junk food? Well, Clear's big argument is that for years, maybe our whole lives, we've been playing the game completely wrong. So what's the core idea? It's this. Real, lasting change, it doesn't come from some massive, heroic effort. It's not about gritting your teeth and using all your willpower for a week straight. No. It comes from these tiny, almost invisible choices that are just 1% better day after day. That's what he means by atomic habits. They're tiny, like an atom, but they're also the source of this incredible, explosive power. The secret, he says, isn't to chase goals. It's to build a system of tiny habits that practically guarantees the results you want. Okay, so to really get this, we're going to break it down into 4 key parts. First up, the power of tiny gains. Then, this idea of forgetting goals and building systems instead. After that, we'll get into what I think is the most powerful part. First, change your identity. And we'll wrap up with the super practical stuff, the 4 laws of change. All right, part 1, the power of tiny gains. This is all about why these small habits can make such a massive difference. So, Clear has this thought experiment. What if you got just 1% better at something every single day? On day 1, you wouldn't notice a thing. Day 2, nothing. A week later, you'd barely feel any different. But this is where the magic of compounding comes in, and the math is just staggering. If you get 1% better each day for a whole year, you're not 365% better. You are almost 38 times better. It's incredible. And the flip side is just as powerful. If you get 1% worse every day, you don't just slip back a bit. You basically end up at 0. It just goes to show how these tiny daily choices set the trajectory for where we end up. Now, this visual right here is probably one of the most important ideas in the whole book, because it explains why we give up so often. See, we expect our progress to be a straight line, right? We put in the work, we expect to see the results right away. But in the real world, it almost never works like that. There's this valley of disappointment at the beginning where you're putting in all this effort, but the results just aren't showing up yet. And it feels like you're failing, but you're not. Clear calls this the plateau of latent potential. All that work isn't wasted. It's just being stored up, building, waiting to break through. This quote from Jacob Riis about the stonecutter just perfectly captures the idea. Imagine a stonecutter just hammering away at this huge rock. 100 times he hits it. Nothing. Not even a crack. But then, on the 101st blow, it splits right in 2. Now, did that last hit do all the work? Of course not. The rock broke because of all 100 hits that came before it. Every single one was storing energy in that stone. And our habits? They work the exact same way. Your first 10 workouts aren't going to transform your body, but they are storing potential. Writing the first 20 pages doesn't give you a book, but it builds momentum. You just have to keep hammering until you hit that breakthrough point. Okay, on to the second big idea. Forget goals, build systems. And honestly, this is a huge mental shift for most people. It's about how to achieve continuous improvement. So what's the actual difference here? Well, a goal is the result you want. It's the finish line. Like, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to write a novel. A system, though, that's the process. It's the collection of daily habits that'll actually get you to that finish line. And here's the key distinction Clear makes. Goals are about winning the game once. Systems are about continuing to play the game long after you've hit that first target. Think about it. Winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. Every single athlete at the Olympics wants to win a gold medal. So the goal isn't what separates them. What separates them is the system of training they commit to day in and day out. Now this next part, for me, this is the single most powerful idea in the entire book. It's about changing your habits by first changing your identity. It's all about how your habits literally shape who you are. So, Clear breaks down behavior change into these 3 layers. You've got outcomes on the outside, then processes, and at the very core, you have identity. Now, most of us try to change from the outside in. We start with the outcome. I want to lose weight. Then we figure out a process. Okay, I'm going to follow this diet. But we completely ignore that core layer, our identity, which is really just what we believe about ourselves. And that right there is why so many new habits fail to stick. Real, lasting change has to come from the inside out. You have to start by deciding what kind of person you want to become. And this quote just nails it. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. Think about that. Someone focused on the outcome, the marathon. They might train for months, they run the race, cross the finish line, and then what? They stop. They did the thing. But someone who's building the identity of a runner, they don't stop. Why would they? It's just who they are now. See the difference? The goal isn't to read 12 books this year. It's to become a reader. When what you do is just a reflection of who you are, you don't need motivation anymore. It's just natural. And this is how it actually works. It's so simple and so brilliant. Your identity isn't fixed. It's something that emerges from your actions. Every single action you take is like a vote for the type of person you want to become. Every time you lace up your shoes and go for a run, even if it's just for 5 minutes, you're casting a vote that says, I am a runner. Every time you write just 1 page, you're casting a vote for, I am a writer. So these small habits aren't just about making progress. They're about proving to yourself, vote by vote, who you are becoming. Okay, so we've got the big ideas down. Tiny gains, systems over goals, and starting with identity. But how do we actually do it? Like, what's the practical step-by-step? Well, this is where Clear gives us a really simple, really memorable framework, the 4 laws of change. It's a 4-step loop. To build a good habit, you want to 1. Make it obvious. 2. Make it attractive. 3. Make it easy. And 4. Make it satisfying. That's it. That's the whole playbook. And what's really cool is how elegant this is. To break a bad habit, you just flip the laws on their head. Instead of obvious, you make it invisible. Instead of attractive, make it unattractive. Instead of easy, make it difficult. And instead of satisfying, you make it unsatisfying. So if you want to stop eating junk food, you make it invisible. Just don't keep it in the house. It's a complete toolkit for redesigning your own behavior. Okay, so that's the framework. But what do you actually do with all this information? How does this change things for you, tomorrow? Well, here are the big takeaways. First, and this is maybe the most important one, stop blaming willpower. It's not about being stronger, it's about being smarter. Start designing your environment for success. You want to read more? Don't just put the book on a shelf, put it right on your pillow. That's law 1, make it obvious. Next, start casting those tiny votes for the person you want to become. Don't try to transform your life overnight. Just read 1 page, do 1 push-up, meditate for 1 minute. That's law 3, make it easy. And finally, just forget about the goal for a while. Seriously, focus completely on your system for today. Just show up, stick to the process. The results, they'll take care of themselves. Now, just to offer a little bit of perspective, one of the book's greatest strengths is its laser focus on what you, the individual, can control. And that's incredibly empowering. But it's probably worth remembering that external things, luck, your circumstances, they definitely play a role in the bigger picture of success too. But at the end of the day, the core message of this book is it's undeniable. The secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. Because those small habits, they don't just add up, they compound. Look, we've really only scratched the surface of what's in this book. It is packed with so many amazing stories and super practical strategies for every single one of those 4 laws. Things he calls habit stacking, temptation bundling, the 2-minute rule. So seriously, if any of this clicked with you, I absolutely recommend picking up the original book. Nothing beats reading it for yourself. And hey, if you want more deep dives into big ideas just like this one, it would be awesome if you subscribed to The Distilled Idea. Thanks so much for watching.